Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Ironworker Gaming channel. I am Ironworker814, and thank you for joining me for another Destiny 2 PvP Season of Arrivals weapon review. We're going to be looking at pros, cons, stats, damage numbers, as well as how to obtain the weapon. The weapon we're going to be taking a look at today is Trinity Ghoul with its brand new exotic catalyst, and we're going to try to figure out if this bow is now worth using in the Crucible. If at any point during this video you find it useful or helpful, or you're just saying, man, this Ironworker's a really cool guy, feel free to give this video a like and consider subscribing to the Ironworker Gaming channel. But since its release into the world of Destiny, Trinity Ghoul has been a fairly underutilized bow. Of the three exotic primary bows in the game right now, Trinity Ghoul feels like the one that is best suited for PvE. But even on that side of the game, many players did not give this bow much consideration. That is until the exotic catalyst was released here in Season 11. This turned the bow from just another wall hanger in the vault into an unrelenting PvE ad clearing machine. And while that's all well and good, we're here to see how much, if any, the catalyst helped Trinity Ghoul out in the Crucible. So we're gonna hop in there and figure out what we can do with this thing, after we take a look at how to obtain this weapon for those who have not done so already. Trinity Ghoul was introduced into Destiny with the Forsaken expansion. This gun is a world drop and in the general exotic loot pool, so there is no surefire way to obtain it. You do have a couple of options though. Play the game as usual and keep your fingers crossed. Farm the Nightfall Ordeal and keep your fingers crossed. Wait for Xur on Friday and keep your fingers crossed that he brought it. Or purchase Xur's exotic engram and keep your fingers crossed. That's a lot of finger crossing, I know, but don't uncross them just yet because the catalyst is also an RNG world drop. You can get this after completing any activity, and the drop rate does seem very high, so you'll probably get this sooner rather than later. Once obtained, to unlock this catalyst, you will need 400 PvE kills or 100 Crucible kills, or some combination of the two. Any trash ad heavy activity like Escalation Protocol or Altar of Sorrows is probably the quickest way to complete this, and upon completion you will have one of the strongest catalysts available in the game right now. Okay, into the stats and damage numbers, and Trinity Ghoul is an exotic arc combat bow belonging to the Precision Frame family. Comparably, this does have a slightly faster draw time of 6:48, so just over 0.6 seconds. As far as the stats go, stability and handling are very average, but reload speed is a touch faster than other precision frame bows. The accuracy stat for Trinity Ghoul is actually the highest for any primary bow in the game, and checking in real quick with light.gg, we see that we also have a very solid aim assist value of 74. Trinity Ghoul's intrinsic trait is Split Electron, fires an arrow that splits when released. Aiming down sights and fully drawing the bow both decrease the spread. The exotic perk is Lightning Rod. Precision kills grant the next shot chain lightning capabilities. This ties in directly with the catalyst. Lightning Rod now triggers from any arc damage final blows. Almost. I did encounter a specific case where this does not apply, but we'll be looking at that when we get into the cons. Alright, for the damage numbers, Trinity Ghoul's arrow will split into 3 separate arrows when fired. Each arrow is going to do 52 points of damage on a precision shot landed for a total of 156 points of damage, and 35 points of damage on a body shot landed for a total of 105. Now for the TTK values on bows, I always calculate them a little differently because I give you credit for having the first arrow locked, loaded, and ready to fire. So we're figuring for a release, a reload, a draw, and another release. So you're looking at just over 1 second for the optimal or body shot TTK value. Regardless of where these arrows land, it's still going to take 2 shots to down a Guardian. Now while we're here, we also have to take a look at the chain lightning damage through the Lightning Rod perk. If your arrow lands on a surface next to your target, the chain lightning will do 51 points of damage per arrow for a total of 153 points of damage. If you land your shot on a target with one of these charged arrows, you are going to be doing 30 additional points of damage off of the base damage. So 186 damage on a precision hit, and 135 points of damage on a body shot landed. Do keep in mind that the chain lightning can chain out from the struck enemy player onto nearby enemy players. And I think that about covers it for the damage numbers, so let's have a look-see at what this bow does well inside the Crucible. At its core, Trinity Ghoul feels like a pretty solid feeling bow. As we talked about in the stats, the draw time and the aim assist are highest in its archetype, and the accuracy is the highest of all primary bows in the game, making this bow perform pretty darn well. But the real strength of this bow comes from the Lightning Rod exotic perk. When you land a precision shot on a target with a full spread of Trinity Ghoul's charged arrows, you actually have the highest damaging primary bow in the game at 186 points of damage per shot, just edging out Le Monarch with its 182 points of damage per shot. And even if you're slightly off target when you release your arrow, if you happen to hit a wall or a piece of cover or the floor near your target, it's still going to do 153 points of damage, leaving your target susceptible to an easy cleanup. And this allows you to express a little bit of creativity with your shot placement, since that chain lightning will tag an enemy up to 5 meters. You can aim at the ground near a piece of cover that the enemy is hiding behind and give them a little jolt, or possibly down them if they have already taken damage. This means that Trinity Ghoul is not only a good weapon to open engagements with, but is also a friendly weapon to swap to for cleanup kills. Because that's another thing I need to mention. You can swap off Trinity Ghoul and swap back, and you will not lose your lightning rod arrow. Plus, if you see your targets are all grouped up, touching off an arrow into the center of the pack is going to hit them all with some pretty significant damage, leaving them all very vulnerable. But maybe your enemies aren't as grouped up as you need them to be. No worries, you can spread those arrows out by either decreasing your draw time or firing from the hip. This will allow you to cover more ground with your spread and tag more targets. There's also a little bit of utility here in close range situations. You can spray some arrows behind you if you're getting chased and looking to disengage, since taking near critical damage will cease most players' pursuit. Or if you're taken off guard by an aggressive player, you can just quick tap your bow at them, hit them with that chain lightning, ensuring that a follow-up melee will put them down. And with the catalyst unlocked, if you're using an arc subclass, you are going to see a lot more uptime with these lightning rod arrows. You used to need a precision kill to proc lightning rod, but now any arc final blow will do, meaning a charged melee, a grenade, a kill from an arc heavy weapon, or even the chain lightning from the arrows itself. Trinity Ghoul really allows you to get creative and engage in a lot of different ways, but at its core, Trinity Ghoul does have some issues, and one is a serious problem in my opinion. So let's take a look at these as we head into the cons. Alright, first off, lightning rod will not proc on an arc super final blow. Deal breaker? No, but just don't expect to be popping out of your super and firing off any charged arrows, unless you had one ready to go already. Next, the sights on this thing are absolutely terrible. There's just so much meat there, and you have that blue tinted view window, and you have those really messy looking drop compensation hash marks tagged onto it. It's just so easy to lose a fast moving target behind all of this garbage. And before you start thinking, well, I'll just hip fire this thing, take a look at the spread. As you can see, you're getting a nice tight grouping when you're aiming down sights, but the spread is considerably wider when you're firing this thing from the hip. So unless you're dealing with a target that is really at close range, an arrow or two is probably going to miss, and if you don't have your lightning rod procced, this is really going to decrease your damage output. So unless you have two enemies that are dead to rights in front of you, and you're going to go full on Robin Hood with this thing and down them both with a single shot, hipfire is generally a bad option. And my biggest issue with this bow is trying to use it at extended ranges. It does not perform well. Let's take a look at the spread on the arrows again. Even when aiming down sights with a fully drawn bow, these arrows do fan out. And obviously, the further you are away from your target, the more spread you're going to see. And this is bad because max damage at extended ranges is the bread and butter for precision frame bows. This is why you equip a precision frame bow. But with Trinity Ghoul, you just cannot land that full spread at longer ranges, hence dropping the lethality and the overall usability of this bow. This means you're probably going to have to use Trinity Ghoul a little tighter than you might be accustomed to, which can be done, but in most cases, this can put lower skill players in some really tough situations. And one more thing I didn't recognize while initially damage testing this is the fact that there seems to be a sort of perfect draw situation going on here with the damage. It's kind of along the same lines as Le Monarch, where you have to release your arrow quickly after a full draw to see that poison damage proc. Something like that seems to be happening here too, because I'm seeing 49s on crits sometimes and 52s on crits sometimes, and these 52s seem to be the number that's popping when I release my arrow quickly. Just something to keep in mind. So is Trinity Ghoul worth using in the Crucible? I would say yes, just make sure you have the Catalyst unlocked and throw on an Arc subclass, because that is the key to making this bow perform. Trinity Ghoul really can be a lot of fun in PvP. You get to do some outside of the box thinking, and you can allow yourself to get creative with your engagements. But if you're hopping into a match with the plan of going full on sweat mode and trying to be as competitive as you possibly can, this bow probably isn't your best option. With that big spread on your hipfire shots and the fanning out of the arrows at longer engagements, you're really handicapping yourself to a certain extent by using Trinity Ghoul. But if you're just kind of looking to break the monotony of your standard loadout in the 6v6 game modes, Trinity Ghoul is absolutely worth a look. So consider leaving this video a like if you found it useful, and consider subscribing to the Ironworker Gaming channel if you'd like to see more Destiny 2 reviews, guides, and discussions similar to this one. Look for Ironworker814 on Twitch and give me a follow if you'd like to catch me live, and leave a comment down below if you'd like to contact me. And with all that being said, I would like to sincerely thank you for spending a piece of your day checking out this weapon review. You guys are awesome, and I will catch you on the next one.